Google parent Alphabet to axe 12,000 jobs worldwide. Tech sector sheds more than 200,000 posts. The layoffs amount to about 6% of the global workforce at the company, the latest tech giant to make cuts after a pandemic hiring spree. Severance packages include vacation, bonus pay, and health care. Google's treasured AI unit gets swept up in 12,000 job cuts. Pichai says AI is still a key investment area for company. Google has faced threats from outsiders, included OpenAI. Hey guys, and welcome back. And unfortunately, it looks like Google is laying off workers. We've been talking about this for the last couple of months on whether or not Google would make this announcement. It looks like the announcement's today, and you can see it was 6% of the workforce. One of the things that's going to be going on is you're going to have a lot of highly qualified and sought-after employees looking for work. Allstate is actually trying to throw their hat into the ring. This is an insurance company. And I was reading through the argument, and it's basically legacy companies are saying, hey, this is sort of the argument, hey, Googlers, we're looking to innovate and transform our company with tech. Please come work here. But the thing that, when I look at this, is like, how can you convince someone that, say is working on the future of AI or something, in my opinion, cool, to go, work for an insurance industry that's like, hey, we're going to like figure out how can we streamline, auto and home insurance. However, to be fair, a job is a job. And when you're laid off, certainly Allstate wouldn't be awful, but I'm just saying I don't know how they're going to try to make these jobs sexy. I want to look at the letter that was sent out to Google employees just recently, and we'll read through it. This is from directly from Sundar, the CEO of Google and Alphabet, and it says, this email to employees, a message from our CEO, a difficult decision to set us up for the future, and eventually, they think that they're still going to be okay. I don't think Google's going to like fold or anything like that, but just they got to make some cuts. So it says Sundar sent the following email to Google employees earlier today. Googlers, I have some difficult news to share. We've decided to reduce our workforce by approximately 12,000 roles. We've already sent a separate email to employees in the US who are affected. In other countries, this process will take longer due to local laws and practices. And it's interesting because, he brings that up. As you guys know, Elon Musk over at Twitter, they're facing lawsuits in various countries because they just basically fired a whole bunch of people at a very, very short notice or no notice. Whereas Google's looks like they're trying to do things the right way because you're operating in multiple countries, right? Every country, and even in the USA, every state has different laws regarding this. This is more from Sundar. This will mean saying goodbye to some incredibly talented people we worked hard to hire and have loved working with. I'm deeply sorry for that. The fact that these changes will impact the lives of Googlers weighs heavily on me, and I take full responsibility for decisions that led us here. And one thing that's been going on is during the pandemic, Google, with a lot of tech companies, essentially overhired. And I'm sure you guys know Google is essentially, I would argue, maybe the most desirable place if you want to work in company to work in the US and maybe perhaps the world. For a long time, Google was a really desired job. And when I was teaching business and things, I would always use Google as an example of how to treat employees well. So I do believe Sundar is sincere here when he's saying he believes that or it weighs heavily on him that the job cuts. I'll just keep saying what more they're going over. Over the past 2 years, we've seen periods of dramatic growth. To match and fuel that growth, we hired for a different economic reality than one we face today. So again, they overhired because the things change, right? The Fed raised interest rates. And also to just, inflation, global pandemic, all this stuff. I am confident about the huge opportunity in front of us, thanks to the strength of our mission, the value of our products and services, and our early investments in AI, which I think is the big story for this year and probably the next, decade or more. You could say the next 100 years. I think AI is certainly the future. To fully capture it, we'll need to make tough decisions. So we've undertaken a rigorous review across product areas and functions to ensure that our people and roles are aligned with our highest priorities as a company. The roles we're eliminating reflect the outcome of that review. They cut across Alphabet, product areas, functions, levels, and regions. And again, we've been talking about this as well. There were reports earlier that were being leaked from the company that essentially managers were told to start looking for people to cut, and also to be a little bit more stricter on their essentially employee performance reviews. And this is more from Sundar. To the Googlers who are leaving us, thank you for working so hard to help people and businesses everywhere. Your contributions have been invaluable, and we are grateful for them. While the transition won't be easy, we're going to support employees as they look for their next opportunity. Talking about the U.S. here. In the U.S., so we'll pay employees the full notification period, which is 60 days, a minimum of 60 days, actually, is what they're saying. We'll also offer a severance package starting at 16 weeks salary, plus 2 weeks for every additional year at Google, and accelerate at least 16 weeks of GSU vesting. Interesting. We'll pay 2022 bonuses and remaining vacation time. So they're going to pay, you can see this, more money depending on how much vacation. Sometimes I don't know if companies for those of you have gone through the experience, I'd be curious your thoughts on that if they pay your bonuses on your way out. We'll be offering 6 months of healthcare, job placement services, and immigration support for those affected. Outside the U.S., we'll support employees in line with local practices. So this seems fairly generous to me, but I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this stuff as well. And this is very different from what they're overdoing at Twitter, where people are actually worried whether or not they're even going to get paid from Twitter and maybe break their promises. I would assume, I'm taking Google at their word here, and let's keep going. As an almost 25-year-old company, we're bound to go through difficult economic cycles. These are important moments to sharpen our focus, re-engineer our cost base, and direct our talent and capital to our highest priorities. And again, for those of you interested in business and executive leadership, it's good to understand how formal language is made. And if you're going to be in these type of roles, how to talk to people that are underneath you, essentially, right? Because you're the boss, and how to treat people with respect. And I think this is important. The way he talks it seems pretty reasonable. But yes, I understand that 12,000 people are getting their jobs cut, which is certainly a traumatic thing. He goes on here and says, being constrained in some areas allows us to bet big on others. Pivoting the company to the AI first years ago led to groundbreaking advances across our businesses and the whole industry. So they're saying that they're basically been on board early in the AI wave. He keeps saying, going on here, thanks to those early investments, Google's products are even better than ever, and we're getting ready to share some entirely new experiences for our users, developers, and businesses too. We have a substantial opportunity in front of us with AI across our products and are prepared to approach it boldly and responsibly. It's interesting how much time we spend talking about AI in this. All of this work is continuation of the healthy disregard for the impossible. I like that. Healthy disregard for the impossible. That's been core to our culture from the beginning. When I look around Google today, I see the same spirit and energy driving our efforts. That's why I remain optimistic about our ability to deliver on our mission, even on our toughest days. Today is certainly one of them. And again, I think his language is good and how a CEO should talk. So take note, guys, if you want to reach these levels, how you treat people with respect. And yes, sometimes you have to fire people, but it doesn't mean you be disrespectful about it. I'm sure you have many questions about how we'll move forward. We'll be organizing a town hall on Monday. Check your calendar for details. Until then, please take good care of yourselves as you absorb this difficult news. As part of that, if you are just starting your workday, please feel free to work from home today. And again, and I think this kind of thing is, even if you're not one of the layoffs, right, your coworkers might be, and it creates a lot of stress in the company that 6% of employees are being let go at Google. In terms of markets and the Fed, they keep sending out people basically saying it's going to be 25 basis points where they're going to be raising interest. And also, too, they keep trying to promote the idea of a soft landing, which may or may not happen, but I'm just telling you. Also, too, the Fed, just be real clear, they always try to give you the rosiest scenario. So this person's retiring, but they still use the same kind of language that the current Fed is saying. This scenario can be a soft landing, is one we would all want to see. There are some possibilities for that. There's still a lot of money sitting in checking accounts of households. And so, again, this is all publicly controlled. However, other voices out there are saying, no, don't trust it. And this is the headline, why the January stock market bounce is illusionary. The potential for recession and lack of liquidity have Truist Keith Lerner advising a defensive posture. And this is coming from him, this is from Lerner. Quote, being defensive from a stock, bonds, and cash perspective is being overweight fixed income relative to equities. And then in the fixed income component, keeping it simple, keeping it with high quality fixed income and not really taking a lot of credit risk at this point. I've said that, guys, all along. So, since starting from last year, I've been warning you guys about the possible layoffs coming, which ended up being right. Also warned you guys about, being out of growth stuff, being into like, bonds, Series I bonds. I mentioned that, guys, before. Defensive stuff like just cash, or dividend stocks, this sort of thing. So we've been riding these kind of things, and essentially, you just got to learn to manage your risk, because nothing lasts forever. The trend so far, say for example, I saw this one in the housing market. The headline just saying, essentially, home sales are down. What's the biggest annual drop since 2008? And home sales keep going down. To say existing home sales, 11 months in a row. So I'm sure prices will be cooling a bit. I can't tell you exactly where the bottom is. I've seen different projections. Some people say maybe 20% drop in the housing, 30%, something of that nature. I'm not sure if we're gonna get some crazy drops of like 50%, but I'll say among luxury homes, the more expensive ones in the sort of hot areas before, like say a Boise, Idaho, they are certainly feeling a lot of pain. And regarding the Elon Musk news, this is an interesting one. So we've been following this trial, and this article is basically going into if Elon Musk would win or lose when he takes a stand. Basically, one of the points is that you want to make sure that the jury likes you. They like you, they'll side with you. They don't like you, bad luck, right? No good. If they get a sense of the lawyers goading him and baiting him, and they don't like the lawyer, they're going to give Musk permission to tee off on the lawyer, because they're going to think the lawyer deserved it, right? So this is trying to get the jury on Musk's side or against Musk, right? Depending on if they like the lawyer. Here's on the other way. Lawyers for the shareholders, quote, want to let his inner Elon Musk come out. All the things that make him very popular and successful are the things that may not serve him well on the stand. It's kind of funny when I was thinking about this, I was thinking of the famous movie, A Few Good Men. It's also a play, if you don't know. And in fact, the basic gist of the story, if you guys saw the movie, it was the Tom Cruise character and the Jack Nicholson character. And the idea is that you put Jack Nicholson on the stand to just let him, essentially self-incriminate himself, right? And so this would be the sort of thing of like Elon Musk is what you would do if you're a lawyer. You want to challenge his pride and sort of like goad him, get him into saying things. And it all depends how the jury reads it, right? If you challenge someone's pride and say, oh, you lied about Tesla, and stuff like that, and you got to figure out how to get them to sort of admit it. So you probably can't say it directly, but you probably want to just hit like, you didn't want people to know the truth, did you? And so you cheated the system, or this kind of thing. And so anyway, thanks for watching one. Love to hear your thoughts on any one of these things, and I'll catch you in the next video.